Hi, my name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer, motivational speaker. It's review day! Today I'm going to review the Vixia HF W11, and I'm also going to do an unboxing of the video, and I'm going to do some samples and a little bit of a how-to. So I'm going to wrap this all into one video. I might do some more videos of this guy just because it looks like this could be the GoPro killer? Is this W11 the GoPro killer? I don't know, but let's find out. Is the Vixia by Canon, the W11, a GoPro killer? Not totally. So first we're going to do the unboxing and see what's in this guy. I've never turned it on. I've just received this package because this looks like the first action adventure camera that actually might work. It is not the first waterproof camcorder. I mean, obviously everybody knows about the GoPro. You know about the GoPro. But maybe you don't know about this Canon camera. This guy is supposed to be able to film 16 feet underwater. It's got all sorts of crazy specs, somewhat drop proof. I mean, it is not nearly as invincible as GoPro, but boy, don't you ever wish you had a waterproof camcorder? Yeah. So by the way, I do not receive financial compensation from Canon. They don't send me free cameras for this stuff. I buy these things on my own accord just to do my filming of my World Beyond shows and all these things. So just a heads up there. So we're going to do an unboxing and see what the heck is in this thing. And we're going to crack that guy open. So, as usual, it has the warranty cards here and all the usual stuff, information, maintenance, saying if you've used this in salty or dusty areas, make sure that you completely rinse it off for 10 minutes so the salt doesn't get in there, because salt will destroy everything. I saw this camera at NAB, National Association of Broadcasters in Vegas. The whole show they had a camera in a fish tank. That was so cool. I've been looking for this thing for a long time. Looks like it comes with a half manual, half in English, half in Spanish as usual. And French. Oh, and Spanish and French. So they cover a lot of ground with that thing. Not too bad. You can get the detailed user guide. I don't know why that's hard to say, but all right. The detailed user guide on their website. They give global Canon /ICPD information. So if you want to go do that, you just Google this. So we're going to crack this guy open, see what it looks like. We won't worry about paperwork too much. I did cheat and did read the manual before I did this, so I know at least an idea, know what it's all about. So we're going to crack this guy open. Dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah, check that guy out. Nice little lens, camcorder. They've got the protective sheet there. And it comes with a USB micro A and a regular USB, a lens cap with the string, and what else? A charging brick to charge the unit up with, a USB to charging brick adapter, and some sort of noise reducing coil for the charging brick. Oh, hey, and check it out. And another coil for the USB brick. Apparently they're supposed to be different or some such thing. These are supposed to reduce the noise. I don't know, I guess. I've never seen that actually worked or did anything. But what do I know? I am an engineer, but I'm not a noise analysis, electronic analysis engineer. So there you go. So we're going to close up this box. I'm going to fire up the camcorder. And we will see what this guy does. They put this nice fabric on here, so you can open it up, and immediately the camera comes to set date and time. So we're going to set the date and time. This is literally me trying the camera out for the first time. So it is January. It is not January. It is, let's see. Now the screen does require pressure to tap. This is no iPhone. I mean, the iPhone, yeah, that does a little bit underwater, but it's not a camcorder. Also, here, I'm gonna leave my phone there. Also, I can see the screen plastic flexes. What month is this? This is June, and we're gonna put the date to the 6th here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2019, and it is 1700. All right, 17. Oh no, it's 458, of course. All right, 458. Boom, boom. Save. Okay. Oops, guess you couldn't see that. All right. Oh, lots of reflection. Sorry there. We'll keep going. GMT. Come on. Let's see. GMT -8. Hello. Come on. Now I might need to calibrate the screen a bit. Okay, there we go. Save. All right. And it looks like the camcorder is ready to rock. Okay. Now it has a microphone, playback. I'll see if I can show you the screen here without too much reflection. There we go. So this camera is supposed to do 1080p, so 28 megasecond, also 1080i, 24 megasecond, 17 megasecond option, and some low 4.5 megasecond. So what does that translate to? Some pretty decent quality for a camcorder. This is not a 4K at all, by the way. Why they didn't do that? Who knows? Now, you'll immediately notice that when I turn the camera on, there is no battery port on this thing at all. You do not see a battery port or anything. It does have a standard quarter 20 mount, and it has an LED illuminator, which they're one of the reasons I bought the camera. Microphone ports, speaker port, but the magic is in the back of this thing. So in the bottom, you will press this, slide open, and this opens the hatch. There's a rubberized film here that protects the connector, and inside you can see the SD card slot, the HDMI mini, the audio, video, and the USB data, plus charger. So, and check it out, the battery looks like it's nearly dead. So I will grab my charging cable and I will plug it in here. I'm not even going to use theirs yet. I'm just going to fire mine up and see. Hey, connect to PC, connect to other. Oh, well, we'll just do that. Playback on a PC, I don't care. Select device. Okay, so the camera right now is trying to connect to my computer. I don't really care. All I want it to do is charge. So I assume it's charging right now. Connect to other, select media, open, built-in memory, and connect to other built-in memory. So this guy can actually convert to a Blu-ray burner, an SD converter, all sorts of other cool stuff, which is pretty nice. And then you can close the camera, and it's got the charging indicator right here. And then if you open, it's got the power and access button. One of the nice things about this camera is, hey, dropping stuff, is it can record both on SD chips and in internal memory. This camera is either 8 gig or 32 gig of memory internal, so if you totally boff it and forget to bring an SD chip, you are not out of business. Plus, this camera can handle up to a 128 gig SD chip, which is pretty cool. In the book, they only recommended SanDisk, to like JVC and one other. You can look online, but so they definitely recommend SanDisk. I always use the Extreme Pros or faster. Not that the camera's that fast, but it's just after you got a lot of video downloading it, it's like kind of wears you out. So while this guy's charging, I'm going to click in the SD chip here. Might be a little bit tough. Let's see. No, I probably don't want to do that. Let's pull this out now. Putting in the SD card as a standard click, and it's pretty recessed in there. Now you can't close this hatch with the door or the screen opens, so you got to close it. And the key to closing this is you push this until it clicks. If you don't see that red when it clicks, your camera is in trouble. Now let's see the battery indicator. Let's see, camera, battery, I've got to figure out how to, oh yeah, there's the menu. Information, okay, I'll touch information. My battery is only at 20% right now. Built-in memory, max recording time, 358. Let's see, menu, what other things does this do? Recording, setup. Okay, I'm going to want to set date and time. Auto power off, touch screen adjust. Record media for video. We're going to do the SD card. And theoretically, the SD card reconfigures. And I should have plenty of space to record with. Let's see, where's the little info button? Oh, D. Yeah, you press that, D-lock. It gives me some more information. How much recording time. Whatever the camera is set to at XP. I've got almost 4 hours of recording time, so I'm going to change that. Sorry for the glare. Let me see if I can change that. There we go. It's still kind of bad. One moment. That glare is really hard to deal with. How about that? Good. Change my lighting setup there. Alrighty, good. Now you'll be able to read the camera just a bit better. And in fact, I'm going to flip this over just so it's a little more fun. By the way, does the usual camcorder flip over thing. Let's see, record to record. We're going to hit the menu, setup. What other things do I want to do? You don't want to put this thing in French or Spanish. I don't want to do that because then I won't be able to handle it. Format, built-in memory. I don't care. All right, so while I'm messing around with this thing, ooh, it has the light. Oh, yeah, it has a little LED. This is what I wanted. Sure, I can get an infrared light and do some filming because I have not been able to find an infrared camera, but because this camera is waterproof, I'm super excited. So what I'm going to do is take this down to the beach and do some recording. So far so good. Unboxing, review of the camera. Not too shabby. Let's see. The one bummer is, let's see, setup, auto power off, touch screen, format, factory. Oh, guess I need to figure out how to shut that light off there. So this is one of the things about these sort of cameras is you have to get used to the menu system. Record setting, touch. Oh yeah, okay. So the record setting, the LED is in there, so we'll shut this off so I don't eat up the battery. I don't have a lot of battery juice in this thing, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this in, and I'm going to close it. So I'm going to show you just that process here. This is all new to me, so we'll just experiment together. I'll open this guy up, and do that. And get this, I'll get a little Velcro dealy for this. Here, and I'll plug it into one of my super ubiquitous cables and power outlets, and then plug the jack into there. It doesn't positively click. Oh, there we go, positively click. Now when you have to charge this thing, you do have to open the screen, unlock. Now it seems like a pain in the butt, but have you ever opened a GoPro lately? Let me tell you. Boom. Okay, so now we're charging at full power. It doesn't have any indication there. It's got handy cam, all that usual stuff. The microphone seems super, super loud, so I'm going to play with that real quick. Record settings, gain up. Let's see what else. Wind cut, self-timer, time-lapse. Time record, shutter mode. Seamless recording on, system select. Oh yeah, we're going to 60p, baby. I don't really like to record in 60 interlaced anymore because for online distribution, you get those jaggy lines. I do use Handbrake to convert or Edit Ready and then Handbrake, but it's such a pain. I definitely, if you have a 60i camera and you have the P option like 30p, believe me, just record in that and you'll have no problems there. So menu, record settings, alrighty. Okay, shutter mode, mic level, okay, so mic level off. All right, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. So this just shows what the mic audio level is at. Yeah, this screen, you definitely have to push on it. Now, this is the thing about a camcorder here, is this professional, any professional camcorder has a microphone level. So you can see what the heck's going on, which is really freaking nice. Let's see, what other options do I have? Oh, mic settings. So right now, this thing is saying I'm really, really loud. So I'm curious to see what the audio level is. I'll have to do some experiments with that. And you can also record with the LCD closed, which is pretty cool. But the one thing they recommend is if you go underwater is to lock the screen. That way when you're filming underwater, you don't have the screen pressed inadvertently. So the record button still records. And let's see. So if I close the screen, open the screen, we're still recording. Cool. So when I go underwater or do any water stuff, it will keep recording no matter what, which is really nice. So I can mess around. This also has a pretty wide angle to a decent telephoto. Okay, we're gonna zoom in here. Whoa, too close. Now this unit also has a macro mode, which is supposed to be pretty cool. So I'm gonna stop the recording now. And the only way to unlock the screen is to hit the lock button. Good, and then I'm going to do record stability. What else do I want? Date, time, recording. You don't want to do that. It'll burn the date in there. Recording effects, shutter mode. I don't care. I don't care. System select, microphone, zoom, mic level, mic settings, LCD recording, screen lock. Okay, setup. Here we go. Set date, time, language. Auto power off, which is good. Format built in. Where the heck is that? So there are some other things I need to find. Oh yeah, there is a macro mode. Let me go find that real quick. Let's see. There we go. No, not there. WT. No, jeez. There's a lot of stuff on these cameras. It's going to take me a little bit. Oh, you got to go into manual. So in order to make this thing do all the trick stuff, you go from intelligent auto, click that button, go to manual, and now you can do all the other magic things with the camera, such as, okay, let's see, record setting, it's got focus adjust, you can do manual focus, let's see, I don't really want to do manual focus because that's very painful. Especially on a tiny little camcorder. If you have a focus ring, it actually works well. But this does give you the option of doing the manual focus. Okay, figured it out. So, still learning the camera, obviously, but in order to get to all the cool modes on the camera, you have to put it into manual mode. And that's in the upper right-hand corner here, where you hit the M. And if you go to intelligent auto, if you're just doing run and gun, that's perfect. But if you actually want to play a little bit, you hit the manual mode where you can see the M. Then you go to the menu, and you go to the record settings, not focus, but come on, telemacro. This thing allows you to get up to, was it 6 centimeters away in wide angle, or like 2 feet away. It's really kind of trippy. So I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna zoom all the way out and see just how close we can get. So there we go. I've actually gotten really, really close to the camera. As you can see, and it is in focus. That's pretty cool. So now in telemacro, what I will do is I will zoom in, and it will keep, let's see, where, yeah, let's see, I'll keep zooming in. And then all of a sudden things will actually get in focus again, and you can see the dust on my printer. So it actually has 2 macro modes, which is really, really cool. Because one of the problems with the wide angle macro mode is you get a lot of junk in your macro, but with the tele mode, you can put it in macro mode, the camera, and it's got this little flower indicator here. And you can zoom in to really cut the field of focus down to something really small. This actually has a lot better abilities and tricks than my main cameras that I'm recording. I'm kind of feeling ripped off. So that is really, really cool. But one of the things about it is you have to shut it off in order for things to work normally. So that special mode requires you to make sure to turn it on or off. So I'm recording in 60p. Let's see what other cool trick things it has. Backlight compensation, stabilization, macro light, gain up, wind cut, daytime, time photo shutter mode, zoom mode. It can actually remember your zoom position. So if you're zooming to a particular position or you need to go back to it when you're recording an event, it's actually pretty slick. Now mind you, this is not really an event camera unless you're filming in a rainstorm or something. So that is a consideration. Mic level, screen lock, mic level settings. So the manual mode gives you access to a couple more fun options to do some filming with. Normally I would say I'm just going to record in intelligent auto, click that there and go back, and all the things shut off, but you do have the option to turn on the LED, which is super freaking cool. So to get to the LED, doesn't take too long to get to the LED there. And you know, it only records at 3 lux, so it's not an incredible night vision camera. Okay, we're actually going to do a couple quick tests before I head down to the beach here. So I'm in a low light room. I've got the LED on, and let me see if I can shut the LED off. Just give you a comparison. There you go. It's not too noisy. I mean, I'm looking at the screen here. Also, this doesn't have any audio ports on it, so of course you can only use the camera mic, but that's just part of the deal. So, alright, I'm recording in a dark room. There is one little LED. It's like a bathroom sort of thing. Obviously, this is not a low light camera, so what I'm going to do is hit the menu button while I'm recording, turn the light to on, and hey, check it out. Now, obviously the white balance is a little jacked up. I haven't messed with that yet, but totally cool. I look like one of those night things. Ah, nice. This just gives you an overview of what this camera is capable of. So, you know, all that yada yada, I'm going to go record with the camera in the sink, and you know, the GoPro, this thing can bend down to like 300 feet. It's pretty slick. This camera cannot do down to 300 feet, but it is a full camcorder, so that's a totally different experience. So I'm going to take this camera and go sink it in the sink, see if it floats. I've been charging it a little bit. The one thing about this is without the replaceable battery, where you can put the battery in and out, what does that tell you? That tells you that you better believe it. In a couple years, you're going to have to send this unit in the Canon to replace the battery. You could probably do it yourself. I'm sure there's a way to do it. You know, so that is a consideration. So I'm going to close the screen here, and we'll see, still charging. So far, this camera actually has a couple of very nice features. The LED light is so nice. I mean, I wish all camcorders came with that. My cameras here just have a little infrared detector. They don't have a light. I wish they had an infrared light. As an adventure, that's definitely a thing. It does have threads on the front. So it's like a 39mm or so thread. I'll have to look up the specs for that. Before I get to the water, I've just been charging the camera a little bit, and I was like, oh, that's right, I forgot the point. So this doesn't have a replaceable battery. You're going to be in the field, and of course what's going to happen, the battery is going to poop out. Canon claims that the battery can last with normal recording and usage about 2 hours. And if it's just purely on and you're not zooming in and doing stuff, they claim up to 4 hours. Now, for me, when I've got a huge pile of batteries with multiple cameras I'm running, it's no big deal. That's pretty good, but you can't replace the battery in this thing. So I'm doing a test with my little portable PNY battery, and it is still charging, baby. So I've got, let's see, I've got another power stick here. And where's my other? And I've got a really huge battery that I carry around. So you do have the option that, yes, even though the battery is not removable or replaceable, is usually user removable, replaceable easily in the field, you can bring extra power sticks to recharge the camera. Now, the specifications say something like 2,000 milliampere hours or whatever it is, but I just plugged in these guys and they are only, what do they claim? Oh yeah, 2,600 milliampere hours. So, you know, no big deal on these little things. I mean, let me show you here. Let's see if the focus will work. Yeah, probably not. There we go, 2,600 milliampere hours. So this is literally charging my camera right now. So you do have the option. You can just bring these little power sticks, recharge the camera. Now, mind you, it is not going to charge very fast, like at all, because it doesn't have as much power delivery as the power brick. However, with that USB option, you could also charge this thing in your car or anything like that, or even the solar panel that plugs in. So you actually do have a lot of options to recharge your camera with. Just note that it's not going to be as fast as it is efficient as an actual camcorder battery, no, but it looks like in order to get this size down to where you have a very small potential GoPro killer sort of camera, you have to make certain sacrifices and make the unit smaller. Otherwise, the unit would be bigger. Now, obviously, you're not going to put this camera on your head, or I guess you could, but then, you know, why would you do that instead of a GoPro? Although, interestingly, these actually weigh very similar. So let me get out the scale here, which is pretty interesting. Now, the GoPro has a much nicer form factor. That's for sure. Let me get all this stuff out of the way. Plug in these batteries to charge, you know, get us like 5 things at once going. But, whatever. Oh, here we go. Let's see. So, we're going to go to grams. All right, there is that. So my Hero with just a standard quarter 20 mount weighs 182 grams. The Canon camcorder, I will take off the charging cable for a moment, weighs 310 grams, so pretty significant. Let's switch that to ounces. So my GoPro with a mount weighs 6.3 ounces. My little Canon W11, 10.9 ounces. So that's a full 4 ounces heavier. That doesn't sound like much, but that is a quarter pound. With that quarter pound, you do get the versatility of a zoom, regular camcorder action, all sorts of abilities. So that's a trade. This is definitely not a helmet cam or a dog cam or whatever, because it's much easier to break, even though it says waterproof to 16 feet or shockproof to 5 feet. Yeah, right. But, you know, I could drop the GoPro all day and nothing will happen to it. However, I can't zoom with the GoPro. I only get one wide angle, boring lens view. I don't have as many options as the camcorder. I mean, the new GoPro 7's pretty cool. I still shoot with this super old 3, but it gets the job done. But I'm looking for this camera, the Canon W11, to really take over. So I'm gonna cut. Let's let that charge for a while. I'm gonna see if the camera floats like Canon advertises it does. Film under my sink, and then if there's enough time, go to the beach and see what happens. Eventually I'll get down to the beach, but don't worry about that. But I've been trying to find the time lapse in a couple of other settings. And like most cameras, the manual doesn't give you all of the info, even though it's supposed to. So I was kind of figuring, I couldn't figure out why the heck the option was missing. But what I discovered is that certain things only work in interlaced mode, which is a bummer, but there you are. That's part of this review. So when you're shooting, you have to be in manual mode. And recording, white balance, let's see, where are we? White balance, light, telemacro, self-timer, gain up, blah, blah, blah. Recording effect, system select. So as soon as you go into 60i, the camera momentarily resets. And now, if I go into menu, recording settings, all of a sudden, let's see, the focus option shows up. The light's still there, gain up, win time, but time-lapse recording shows up. So in order to make time-lapse recording work, you have to be in 60i. Let's see, what other effects did I notice? Seamless, oh, and video quality. You cannot choose any other video quality when you're in 60p. The 60p is the best video quality the camera can put out. But if you need to reduce the quality, to say save some space or something in EP mode, which is UXP mode's 24, EP mode's 17, and then XP mode's about 4.8 meg. Let's see, system select, microphone levels. Yeah, so the couple things that are missing in 60p are time-lapse recording and then the recording settings. So once you get to system select and you get there, I can now get into time-lapse shooting. So this is definitely a key to this is, 5-second interval, and then, how long you record, XP, recording and time-lapse, and it records a couple frames. So something to consider is when you're setting up, and hey, where the heck is time-lapse? The only way to find it is if you are in 60i mode. Okay, the first audio test inside a room, 12 by 17 with a 8-foot or so ceiling. There was water in the microphone so you could hear the different level. Now the wind cut is off. The wind cut is off. And we will continue talking and we'll go listen to silence. Okay, and now we're going to listen to the zoom motor. And now we will listen to the autofocus motor. Okay. Alright, now the wind cut is set to on. It is forced to on. I'm still about 1.25 foot away from the microphone, so you can hear the audio. Let's listen to silence. If you can hear it, I've got my hard drive running. I've got a little timer, so hopefully they don't pick up too well. So let's listen to the camera noises with wind cut to on with the focus. And then the zoom motor. Okay, easy enough. And now that concludes the, let me double check, wind cut set to on test with clear microphones. Okay, now wind cut is set to automatic. Wind cut is set to automatic. So we're going to do a silence test. And now we're going to do a little bit more talking. There is a hard drive there. There's a little timer. Now let's listen to the zoom motor. Alrighty, and let's listen to the autofocus motor. There we go, so that was the microphone auto test. One other test I forgot to do was the effect of the wind cut system. So right now I am at about 1 foot away from a camera in a room that's about 17 by 12. So you can hear the audio. So I'm going to see if I can, let's see, focus, brightness. Yeah, no, I can't adjust the wind cut right now. So right now the wind cut is off. And now the wind cut is on, just to have you listen to the different audio level of what the wind cut sounds like when it is on. I assume it's a little bit quieter, a little more muted. This does have an auto system. I will do that in a minute. When I was filming outside, it does get pretty quiet to cut out the wind. Okay, the wind cut is set to off. The wind cut is set to off. There's a slight breeze. It's blowing directly into the microphone. It's highly variable, 1 to 3 miles an hour. So let's listen to the environment. Okay, there you go. Different microphone tests. Alright, the microphones are clear. The wind cut is set to on. The wind cut is set to on. I can see when a little bit of breeze blows around that the mic does ripple a bit, so let's just listen to the general audio. Okay, so definitely when I just listen to regular mic versus wind cut on, the wind cut on wipes out the low frequencies. That's totally normal. That is a trade. You do sound weird, but you know, better than that's for sure. So the wind cut is set to on. Now the wind cut is set to automatic. I can see the left-right channel of audio is much better, and I'm going to re-record the original microphone with the wind cut off because there was too much water in the microphone. That's the thing, that water gets in there. It really sounds pretty bad. So I'm going to re-record that now that I cleared the microphone. I didn't do that well enough. But the wind cut is set to automatic. Let's listen to the environment. Okay, right now, oh hey, there we go. Sorry, there's still water in the microphone, so the right channel is quiet. So now there's a light breeze, a breeze coming up, and the wind cut is set to on. So let's listen to the environment. Okay, pretty good. Also, one thing to note too, I know I put it in the comments below, but the camera does record the zoom sound and the autofocus sound, so let's see if we can hear that. Okay, I presume you could hear that. So that's one thing about this camera. The microphone is not decoupled from the body very well. It is not meant to be your primary camera unless it has to be. So the audio's, it's waterproof. So let's listen to the autofocus noise in a natural outdoor environment. Okay, there we go. So the wind cut is on. There's a variable breeze coming in and out of here, and we just listened to the zoom sound and the autofocus sound. Okay, right now again I'm about a foot and a quarter from the camera. The wind cut is set to off. Let me double check just to verify that's correct. The wind cut is set to off. There's a vaguely variable breeze, maybe 1 to 3 miles an hour. Let's listen to the environment. Okay. Now this camera doesn't have an ear jack. I mean, it doesn't have anything. So I really don't know what I'm getting. I can see the audio levels coming up and they're doing their thing. So we'll see. I don't know how it's all going to work out. This also does have the ability to turn up the microphone. So if I get really, really close, it gets into the red. But as soon as I come back, the right and left, it does have a stereo. Looks like the right's a little quiet. Oh. Okay, how about that? Now there's less water in the microphone. I guess I need to shake that out. So that's something to consider is when you get water in that microphone, it's going to wipe out your audio a bit. We'll do, looks like the right's still quiet. So it's a little bit backlit. Obviously you can't see me, but I want to show you what it's like if you're in a typical selfie situation of the type of audio you can get with the camera. One bummer is I wish they had a Bluetooth audio or partnered with Sennheiser or something so you had a wireless audio into that thing. That would be incredible. I mean, that wireless ability would just make this camera incredible. Sadly, there's always one little niggle. So what I'm going to do now is show you the zoom ability up to that insulator up there. So right now what we are at is we are at 1x zoom. And I'm going to begin zooming in. So we're at 60p, we're at 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, 6x, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, 25, 29, 33, 38, 40. So that is the maximum optical range of this camera. We're recording at 60p progressive, the best ability of the camera. And now we're at 50x and 55 and 60x. So I'm going to block the glare here. You can see a little bit of purple haloing off the reflection there, and that's not too surprising with the digital zoom. But if we go back to around 40x, so you can see a tiny bit of purple hazing around the reflection off the insulator. But, you know, this isn't a super high-end camera, so I would expect that, and that's not the point of the camera. But you come back to 20x, and it really starts to look good. Now, also the clouds are moving in and out, blocking the sun, so you're going to get a huge variation of contrast as well. So, unfortunately, it's kind of like a multi-sort of test, but boy, with that 20x zoom, you can really zoom, or 40x optical zoom, you can really zoom into stuff and see just how dramatically different this camera can do. So it's quite surprising. I mean, having that 40x zoom capability, I mean, I can get way, way out there. Now, of course, with that much zoom ability, you have a trade that the lens performance isn't going to be as good with halo and glare and all that, but again, that's a trade with an adventure camera. So that's the ability. I mean, you can zoom way in. It's pretty incredible. And the question of white balance. Setting the white balance is, of course, always a process, and it's incredibly important because this is only a 28 megasecond camera, so if you mess up the white balance, you're in real trouble. So the white balance options has the usual automatic, manual, sunny, cloudy, shade. But then for underwater, it has blue and green setting. Blue is if you're in deep water, which means 14, 15 feet. Green water is shallow water. But the key to setting the white balance manually is that you have to put it towards, point the camera towards some sort of white setting, press and hold set, and you'll see the setting blink, and then it will set. So that's a key thing to watch out for. So in order, let me show you again. So You can march around to the daylight, cloudy, you know, shade, blue, green. One thing is the menus also don't wrap around, which is kind of a bummer, so it's a little bit slower there, but it's a $300 some odd camera, so there you go. So once you get it to manual white balance, you'll press and hold, and you'll see the white balance indicator blink until the white balance is set. So if you have a white card or a sampler, that way you can keep your image white neutral throughout all of your shooting, because if you're using different cameras, different manufacturers, getting the white balance correct is important. So I just figured that out. That is totally cool. So far so good. All right. Oh, also this display key thing here, you'll see that display key. If you want to see more info, you can shut off some of the info, but hitting the display key will give you more data, which is really good. So that's something to watch for as well. Shutter mode, LCD, let's see, time-lapse recording mode, backlight compensation, there you go. So okay, so let me get this correct here. For the mode settings, when you're in 60i, you have the option somewhere here. Let's see, where are we there? Video quality. So UXP under 60i or interlaced is, I'm looking at the data sheet now, is 24 megasecond. XP, which is what the time-lapse recording in, is done at 17 megasecond. And EP or extended play is only 4.8 megaseconds. So that's going to be pretty rough. It's still at 1080p. Or 1080i, actually 1080i, but very high compression. So that's something to watch for. I wish it went down to 720 or something. It would actually be a better recording, but there you are. But if you want the ultimate out of the camera, make sure to choose system select is 60p, and that gets you 28 megaseconds. So that's the highest quality out of the camera. So another interesting feature on this guy is this zoom microphone. The manual isn't super clear about it, and it says zoom mic, sets a zoom mic, deactivates a zoom mic, great, zoom mic right here, and records audio sounds in the same direction as a zoom operation. So what the zoom mic actually does is as you zoom in, the gain on the microphone starts to increase, because theoretically your sound is farther away. Now, whether that's good or bad, I don't know, but I definitely want to shut that off. Also, if you want to use the digital zoom settings, you have to make sure to shut the high-end stabilization off. So any one of the digital zoom settings, when you hit turn on super stabilize, which is, where is it? Yeah, DIS. Let's see, so off. So if you have the AIS, the automatic super stabilization, or the enhanced stabilization, you will not be able to use digital zoom. And the reason for that is that the sensor is right here, but the area of recording is right here. So as a consequence, that stabilization eats up some of your image space in order to work. So digital zoom is actually already happening. So what I do is I usually just leave normal stabilization on, because otherwise it kind of eats up my wide angle. So digital zoom is actually pretty good. The camera does have a manual focus on it. I was messing around, I zoomed in, I'm like, oh crud, something's wrong with my camera. No. So you always have to make sure that your AF or autofocus is also active. And you can see that normally autofocus is active. So if you shut off and you go to manual focus, so record settings, see focus, and you go to manual, all of a sudden the manual focus operation is over here. Now, note too that when you change video modes from 60i to 60p or any of the quality settings, there are several things that when you change the mode, the camera clears a lot of settings off. So obviously this isn't some professional camera with 20 different buttons, which would be really great. But again, that would not compete versus, you know, the GoPro. So again, that's your trade-off is, oh, I wish it had this, I wish it had that. Well, it's a very inexpensive camera for what it does. And so you have to consider that, hey, you know, I'm not going to have all this information. So, you know, watch out there. One of the challenges of recording is normally I record my cameras here on manual mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually record on the W11, and we're going to look at how well it handles backlighting. So I've got one of my studio lights here, and you can see on this camera that, oh, it's like, it's not looking that great. So we're going to go turn on, let's see, record settings, a backlight compensation. You can actually do some things when you're recording. So we're going to turn on and see. It looks a little bit better, but let's see, record settings, backlight compensation, advanced. I don't know if it works all that great, but what we can do, record settings, is shut off the backlight compensation, put it to off. So I'm still dark, which is a bummer, but if you go into the record settings here, and you go into brightness adjust, and you go into manual, now on screen, you can crank this thing up until, well, probably 1.7. Not too bad. Now this camera, of course, doesn't have waveforms or anything fancy. Don't think it does, because it's not that expensive a camera. These guys have waveforms, but that's okay, and that's the whole theory. So now I've actually got compensation where I've got a crazy amount of backlight. I've increased to stop in 2/3, and it works pretty well. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. All these other things about the camera, but ultimately this camera is all about being waterproof. So this is what I'm really after. I'm filling the sink with water here. You know, normally camcorders, you keep those suckers away from water because water gets in there, trashes the electronic, fogs the lens, and generally ruins them. But this is supposed to be fully waterproof. We will see. So one of the things about waterproof is that if you put the camera in running or flowing water or wave action, that momentary pressure can actually end up exceeding the pressure rating of this camera. So putting under running water is bad. You don't want to put this under a pounding waterfall or something, because that can destroy the camera. And they do give instructions about how to store it, to dry it off and everything. So I'm going to literally turn this camera on. And it does take a moment for the screen to come up, which, you know, well, let me get the white balance set here. Oops, back to automatic. I'd rather just have automatic and let the camera figure it out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm going to just hit record. And one of the things is, all right, well, either it'll work or it won't. Not very profound, I know, but I'm not exactly Walt Whitman either. Alright, so there you go. Camera is in the sink. Camera is sinking. And the camcorder is underwater. Now, I did not press the lock button like I'm supposed to, so I'm just kind of living dangerously, but I just want to see what the camera does by itself. Now, note that the camera is actually somewhat floating. So if I bring it back up, flip the screen around, close it, and just drop the camera in there, the camera does float. Now, I wouldn't say it's not neutrally buoyant, it's somewhat positively buoyant. And I'm doing a record here as well, so we'll see how things go. Oh, let's see, it's somewhat buoyant. It looks like there's an air pocket in the back, and always make sure that the lock on the back is set. If that's red, your camera is dead. So I'm going to put the camera back in the water. We're still recording. Let's see, it kind of floats. Yeah, it's floating. It barely hangs on, but so far so good. I got to fill the sink up quite a bit. Now, in salt water, this is going to float quite a bit because the salt water, of course, is denser than regular just plain water. So we're going to put the camera in here again. And I am going to lock the screen. Record setting. Let's see if we can get the screen lock going here. Nope. Guess when you're committed in recording. So the camera is now recording. It does float. Barely. No, it does float. It positively floats, but yeah, I felt the sink a lot more in order to get that to float. So it's going to be interesting to hear what it actually sounds like underwater as I'm talking away and explaining things. So I'm just recording on the W11 right now, and we're going to fill this sink up as much as we can just to see what it is like. I mean, you know, I have no idea because it's supposed to float, but it keeps touching the bottom of the sink, so this is something to be aware of. And theoretically, it's supposed to float. So we'll just keep filling up the sink with water until we can get a circumstance where the camera does not touch the bottom of the sink anymore. I suppose I should have maybe filled up the sink before I was recording, but this is all part of the fun of the experience, right? So now we're going to put the camera back in the water. Ooh, doesn't quite float. It's not quite floaty. It's just slightly negatively buoyant, at least my camera is. Okay, so now we're going to see if recording closed. Nope, nope. Okay. So if you don't have that option turned on, where you have the camera disabled or like a closed door recording, that's definitely something you want to turn on. Let's see, so LCD recording on, because if you're recording and the camera's on, where are we? If you're recording and the camera's on and you close this, that's the only way to shut the camera off and it'll keep recording, so something to watch for. So we'll start recording. We'll close the LCD, and the camera's still blinking. Okay. All right, so we're going to just put that in the water. Okay, so the camera does not float. Theoretically, it should float. It's slightly negatively buoyant. It takes a while for it to sink. So that is definitely something to watch for. If you let this camera go, it will sink to the bottom. Oh well, I was hoping it would be somewhat positively buoyant, but oops, that's another thing. The little lens cap coily thing gets in the way, so gotta be mindful of that. And you hit the record button. Cool. All right, so we're gonna take this in and listen to it and see how it sounds and see what it looks like. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to record with my GoPro here. I'm going to do an audio record so I can get some clear audio. And then I'm going to record with this guy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to time-lapse down to the beach. That way I can test out the time-lapse ability. I'm going to use the 1 second time-lapse, so that should give me a 30 speed increase. On the GoPro, I'll do a speed up mode. And we'll see how the audio works out here. I've got the mic wind cut to auto, stabilization to medium AIS, and then rolling. So I'm going to cut the recording, and I'll switch it back on, and we'll do a time lapse down to the beach. Okay, so here I am down at the beach. Hopefully we'll watch that time lapse. I'm kind of doing this sort of thing live. I am here in saltwater with a camcorder, which is kind of scary, but there you are. So what I've done is I brought my GoPro here, and what I'm going to do is see if I can do an experiment. I was hoping to catch a starfish, but most of the starfish are over there under the water. So I'll look around, I'll do a little bit of macro shooting here, and you can hear what the audio level looks like. I've got the auto wind cut on, so hopefully that works. I'm also recording on my microphone on my Sony portable, That way I get decent audio so you don't have to stand listening to poor audio on the camcorder. I have noticed that the camcorder does pick up zooming and focusing mode noise on the microphone. I think that's just the way this design camera works, but you know, that's just part of the deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run around trying to find a couple of things to record and hopefully not get too drowned here. So you always have to watch out that you don't put your back to the water, and I'll see if I can find some starfish and some other things to record, and I'll do a little head-to-head with the GoPro and see what we have. And by the way, I've returned the, don't want to get wet there. I've returned the camera to 60p, so this is the maximum quality level. I've got the stabilizer on 1 AIS, not the AIS enhanced, so we'll see how that works. It probably uses a little less battery, which is perfect for me. So when we find some things, I'll stop my microphone recording and we'll just go live on the Canon W11 and we'll see how we do. Alright, so my first test here is going to be the starfish test. I know where a lot of starfish hang out, so I'm going to put the GoPro and the camera kind of side by side. This is as wide as the camcorder gets. It's not incredibly wide, which is a bummer, but the auto LCD is kind of switching things. You can see what everything looks like in here. There are a ton of starfish here, which is pretty cool. So we're not in the water yet, but I am at the beach. Alrighty, check out those starfish. So the GoPro's here and the camera are side by side. Cool, not too shabby, not too shabby. We're in the shade, so the white balance is probably bad. So I'm going to stop the GoPro and the camcorder, and then I'll switch the white balance on the camcorder. Actually, wait a minute. I bet you I can switch the white balance live. Okay, so right now we are at daylight, and now we're at cloudy, and now we're in the shade. Shade's not good. So we're going to go into cloudy mode, and we'll do some more recording on here. Hopefully the GoPro doesn't fall off. Now we look, these should be orange and purple starfish. Pretty cool. Not too bad. Okay, so now we're in the telemacro mode, and we're going to get really, really close to the starfish. And we've got a GoPro going too. And we'll look here. I'm really, really close. You can see us side by side. I don't know how close I can get with this thing. That's crazy. Ooh, check that out. And that's a sea anemone. And they're kind of trippy, so we'll touch this guy just gently. It's a camcorder. So watch him and touch him. Pretty cool, huh? Alright. So, telemacro is pretty impressive. I'm amazed how close you can get. You can see with the GoPro just how close I am to this mussel before it conks out, and I'm still getting close. That's pretty amazing. That's actually probably closer than my GoPro can get. So that's pretty cool. There's another starfish hanging on for dear life here. Whoa, GoPro out of control. Selfie stick not working great there, but check that out. Super cool. Oh, there's a starfish here. Alrighty, so telemacro, pretty cool. Oh, actually, sorry, I forgot. I'm recording the other telemacro mode where I'm far away, and you can see where the camera is relative to the little starfish there. So that telemacro mode, that is pretty slick. So you can get some good compression in your shots. I am under a rock with salt water dripping on the camcorder. Right, so yeah, salt water dripping on the camcorder is extremely bad. Don't want to have that happen, so this is pretty nice not to have to worry about that. I'm sure the audio is not great, but that telemacro mode is pretty slick. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out and we're going to walk around. I'm going to watch the waves. But we are going to get in the salt water here. Maybe. I don't want to get wet, but I want to get the camera in the water. Don't want to step on any animals. Oh, here we go. Okay, so the GoPro, as we know, can do its thing. Watch the GoPro go in there. No problem. I'm going to have to put the camera on the camcorder rack, but hey, here we go. Saltwater recording number 1. Here comes some waves. Whoa! Okay. The camcorder is in the salt water. Okay, so now we're going to send the camera. We're going to leave it on. We're going to close the door. Hopefully not get hit by a wave. And we're going to go watch this wave come in here. And hopefully I won't get too wet. We're going to start the camera in salt water. Not exactly a lot of exciting things on there. Whoa! I need to find something a little more exciting to look at, but I don't want to get hit by a big old wave. So I'm going to go record over there, see if I can find something more exciting. Ooh, but check it out, there's a starfish! Starfish! Oh, that's a huge starfish. Check that thing out. Wow! Ooh, it's kind of mushy. Just be real gentle when you touch him. Doesn't look too healthy, but maybe he's eating. I don't know. Don't disturb him too much. So we're doing the GoPro versus the camcorder here. You know, side by side, the camcorder's not that wide, which is a bummer. Ew, kind of slimy. All sorts of fun stuff. All right. We're gonna. Oh, there's another starfish. There's starfish all over the place here. Pretty cool. I'm going to try this in daylight and see what it looks like. Okay, so we're in telemacro, and we're going to see how close we can get to the starfish. And the GoPro's at about the same distance. Pretty impressive, yes? Cool. Okay, now we're going to ultra stabilize. And it looks like the tide's come in. I'm going to get soaked here. So we're going to see how ultra stabilize does. 20, 30. Okay, so that is 40x handheld. Not that great. But if we go back to 30x, it's actually pretty functional. It's not incredible, but I am handheld 30x. So what about 20x? So this is on the AIS-2, not too bad. Let's see what happens. Here comes the wave. It looks like the camera survived so far. I'm going to try the green white balance just as a comparison. See, so I'm going record setting, and now I'm going to go into the green white balance because it is shallow, and we're going to see what it looks like. I have no idea. So far so good. Green white balance. I'm going to go back to daylight. Now I did see... Oh, crud. Okay, we're going to set the daylight There we go. Cool, so we've got daylight setting. We're going to go back underwater. Okay, there we go. So, looks like the water's draining off okay. I haven't seen anything bad happen yet. Ugh. I mean, the ultimate test is salt water, but one of the keys is when I go home, I have to make sure to rinse this thing out for at least 10 minutes, but probably longer to leach off all that salt. So, thus far, the camera has continued to work. I'm going to check the screen. Still seems to be recording. Now, obviously, this is a very contrasty scene because of the backlighting and everything, but look at my beautiful midday light on my visage. Yeah, not too shabby. So I'm going to see if I can find one or two other things to look at for you here. Then I'm going to close out this review. So far, the camcorder has worked great. Hopefully the audio isn't too bad. I mean, I've got water in it, there's wind, you know, all the usual things that would utterly destroy a camcorder. But I have to say, being able to record in the water is freaking cool. So let me adjust the selfie stick here just a bit. When the ability to record the camcorder at the ocean in the water is just mind-blowing. I know there's another manufacturer, but having a Canon behind it, and everyone's like, oh, it didn't do 4K, blah, blah, blah. Look, dude. I'm in the ocean, I'm recording with a camcorder. How cool is this? So let me find one or two more B-roll shots and we'll call this good. All this running around right now, the battery is at 80%. I'm zooming in and out, pressing a bunch of keys, playing with the camera quite a bit. So theoretically, a 2-hour record time, who knows exactly. I'll have to do a separate test for that, but you know, 80% with this much usage, turning the super stabilize on, that always eats up some battery power. So far so good. All right, so there you have it. I've been testing the Canon W11, the new adventure full camcorder at the ocean in worst conditions possible, with tide pools sloshing around, sand getting in there. I did notice the rocker switch got a little bit sticky. The record button did get a little bit sticky, but there's sand in there. So what I'm going to do now is go home and, just like Canon said, put it into a bucket or under the sink for 10 minutes, take it out, drain, put it into a bucket or sink again for another 10 minutes. That way it gets all the salt and the grit out of the camera, which is super important. But thus far, the camcorder has still been running. For the price of this thing is totally incredible. I'm going to put a link below to the audio recorder, the Sony ICD, whatever it is, GoPro, of course, to this camera, to the memory chip I've been using. I can't remember what else I've used in this video, but I'm going to put links to Amazon below so you can check it out. Boy, if you want something other than the GoPro look, which is great, but if you want something that actually gives you a variety without having to have a crazy camera housing, boy, this Canon W11, wow! This opens my adventure opportunities huge. The upside's good control, nice abilities, time lapse, that's been incredible. 60p recording, 28 megaseconds. Totally good. Downsides, the lens is not that wide. I wish it were a wider lens, but to trade, it has a 40x optical zoom, dual stabilization. That 40x optical zoom is amazing. I mean, my regular main camcorders don't have that. They don't have time lapse. They don't have backlight compensation, which, you know, big deal. But this thing also has a built-in LED, so I can go record at night and do my adventure videos and travel videos there. So highly recommend this Canon W11. As time goes on, I'll post some other videos about it. My name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. Please like and comment on my video. Also hit the subscribe button if you wouldn't mind. That helps support the channel. You subscribe, I keep bringing you the material. Thank you very much for watching, and support my channel on Venmo and PayPal, and watch for my World Beyond shows on Amazon.